Hi, I'm Brooke Vetter, an ag education major. I'm in my junior year at Kansas State University, and I would like to talk about what I've learned in this technology class. And so a few things really stood out to me that we included in our Wakelet collections. First of all, I really enjoyed the podcast section. I listened to a lot of good podcasts. I enjoyed listening to this specific one, Why Robots Will Not Replace Teachers. The reason why I liked that one so much was because it explained the role that teachers hold in the classroom. It also explained how important they were in students' lives and how they played so many different roles for students. They could be parent roles to them, amazing teachers, friends, and I just think there's so many connections that teachers can make with their students. So that was a very interesting podcast, and for me, I just really enjoyed listening to it. And I loved creating my own podcast as well. I've always been a fan of podcasts. I love listening to them, and I just think that creating my own that I could use for my students someday or fellow teachers could be a really good resource that people could use every single day. So I just think that podcasts are a great thing to have and a great thing to use as well. So I'm very excited that we got the chance to work on something related to that. Another thing I really enjoyed was creating my own lesson. And what I chose to do my lesson over was breeds of horses, because I'm a very big fan of horses. I've had them my whole life. My family raises them. And I just think that because I have so much knowledge on them, I thought that that was a great lesson to share with students. And so some students are not familiar with horses. They don't really know much about them. And so I just did a generic little evaluation on breeds of horses and was kind of setting up the quizzes and tests to not be too difficult so that the students could just be able to understand the basics of just a few different breeds, even though there are many. So it's that way with any animal, though. It's important to know just basic breeds instead of going into great detail and learning too many of them at once. So I liked how we were able to set up the lesson to just go over some basic knowledge that students needed to know. So I really enjoyed creating those lessons. Along with that, one that we just got done doing, the HyperDoc lesson that I chose to do, I chose to make a document covering crops and crop production. And I think that's one of the most important things to teach in agriculture is not just what crops are being grown, but how they're grown and how they're produced and everything that goes into it. And I think it's a good thing for any student to know is just the production that goes into it and how long it takes to grow certain crops. And so that's something that would be useful for anyone. And so when I created my HyperDoc, I chose to look at a bunch of different articles and videos that I thought were simple and fun and easy for students to read and understand. So for me, that lesson was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed creating something that was both fun for me and for the students. So overall, those were the ones that really stuck out to me the most. I did enjoy doing the fun things like creating memes and creating fun little puzzles and assignments that students could do. Those were a lot of fun as well. But overall, I enjoyed anything that involved creating a lesson myself. So the podcast was very interesting because it's something that I've always found to be fun. And then the HyperDocs, the lessons that we created, the videos that we made to go along with them, I found those to be very enjoyable. And so that was a lot of fun for me. And overall, that's what I really enjoyed in the class, was just being able to create stuff ourselves. In my experience, I've never been that great with technology. I never really did a lot with it. And so it was nice to be able to learn about all of these different teaching methods we can use and all of these different programs that I can use, that some of them I found not to be too difficult. So that's what was good, is even though some parts of the class were a bit time consuming, I think they were definitely worth it to show what all we're able to use as teachers in the future. So I think it's important that as future teachers, we know how to use this technology, because everything is getting to be so reliable on technology now. And so we need students to be able to know how to use it, and the teachers need to know how to use it as well, and be able to teach it to others that might not have as much experience with it. So I just think that this was a very productive class and a very great opportunity for students like me who might not have been that experienced with technology to gain more experience in it and be able to create our own lessons and our own plans and everything that went along with that. So overall, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how much I was able to learn from the beginning to the end. I feel much more comfortable with using technology now and all of these different apps that I had never even heard of before. So now that I have this knowledge, I feel more comfortable sharing it with other people and showing them all of these opportunities that we're able to use just with our iPads, with computers, phones, whatever it is. I just think it's very cool, all of the different opportunities that we have to use at this point. And I'm excited to learn what comes next. Every year, there's always something new. So I just think it's good to keep expanding my knowledge on it, keep being creative, and look for all of these opportunities that just keep coming every single year. So I just have appreciated everything I've learned in this, and I hope that I continue my knowledge in my future years. So thank you.